Saudi Arabia wants to diversify its economy, and who do you think it will rely on? The U.S. was anticipating that Saudi Arabia would probably increase its collaboration with the U.S. But it came as a shock to the U.S. when Saudi Arabia decided not to work with the U.S. It canceled a $70 billion order with the U.S. It was a nuclear project between the two nations. Right after the cancellation, Saudi Arabia signed a nuclear deal with China. The U.S. was not happy at being rejected, and what was even unbearable was China being picked over the U.S. But why did Saudi Arabia do this? Let's find out. Welcome back to another exciting episode of our channel. Innovation Diary brings you China's innovation stories, projects, and growing influence in different parts of the world. If you are new to the channel and enjoy learning about fast-paced modernity, especially China's development and growing power, you will find our videos intriguing. In this video, we will discuss why Saudi Arabia wants to work with China and not the US. We will also talk about things that are making countries part ways from the US. Watch the video till the very end to know if the US's influence in the Middle East has ended. Let's get started. In the ever-evolving landscape of global energy, Saudi Arabia embarked on a monumental journey to invest an astonishing $70 billion in nuclear power plant projects. Yet this audacious move into nuclear energy wasn't just about technology and clean power. It became a geopolitical matter where energy, currency, and influence converged in a high-stakes game. And why did this happen? Because of China and the US involvement in this project, Saudi Arabia made a choice that not only showed who Saudi Arabia thinks is the global power, but also showed whose influence is decreasing. Saudi Arabia decided to cancel a $70 billion deal with the US and instead invested it with China. When Saudi Arabia, a nation renowned for its abundant oil wealth, announced its intention to get into the world of nuclear energy, the world took notice. The OPEC nations trade 52% of the world's total oil, and this gives every oil-related matter of Saudi Arabia great importance. But this time, Saudi Arabia's move raised eyebrows and torched a series of questions. The central question revolved around Saudi Arabia's true intentions. Did it want to show who it stands with? While many think Saudi Arabia made the right decisions, the U.S. has shown concern. It said, would this decision remain confined to peaceful civilian applications, or would it also be about military applications? It is confirmed that without even the project getting started, the U.S. concern has already taken over its head. But to ease international concerns, Saudi Arabia left no room for questions. It promised to channel its nuclear efforts exclusively into civilian applications. Nevertheless, the United States remained skeptical, casting a shadow of doubt over Saudi Arabia's nuclear aspirations. This skepticism prompted the U.S. to impose a significant condition, a commitment from Saudi Arabia to abstain from uranium enrichment activities on its soil. This condition, grounded in the principles of nonproliferation, highlighted how scared the United States is. But people begin to wonder why the U.S. is so concerned. Beneath the surface, it became apparent that the United States wasn't entirely opposed to Saudi Arabia's nuclear power ambitions. The U.S. stated that it was dealing with the complex landscape of geopolitics, driven by two strategic motives. The first motive was tied to the United States' unwavering allegiance to its ally, Israel. Israel held deep uneasiness about Saudi Arabia's nuclear plans, fearing that it could potentially escalate nuclear proliferation across the already volatile Middle East. Consequently, the United States found itself in a dangerous diplomatic balancing act. It said it wants to harmonize its alliances while trying to broker an agreement involving Saudi Arabia and Israel. But what makes people question the U.S.'s concern is that the United States put forth several demands, all linked to China's interests. One such demand specified that Saudi Arabia conduct all its oil trade with China solely in U.S. dollars, effectively shrinking the use of the Chinese yuan for transactions. If you are someone who knows about China's de-dollarization plans, then you might be laughing at the U.S.'s audacity to demand such a thing. China is working on a de-dollarization with a list of nations, and the U.S. thinks, giving this matter a political name, it will be able to make Saudi Arabia trade in dollars. Let's just not forget that Saudi Arabia was the first nation that stood with China's de-dollarization plan. So this demand might have sounded absurd to both the U.S. and China. But the question is, why Saudi Arabia picked China and rejected the U.S.? Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel for more videos about China's development, power, and influence on the world. Let's continue now. We all know the reason for U.S. concerns is related to this factor. It is not able to bear rejection, and for that reason, it is showing its concerns. Beyond the immediate nuclear energy negotiations, Saudi Arabia had a long-standing ambition to reduce its reliance on the United States. This desire became evident through its Vision 2030 plan, conceived to diversify the nation's economy beyond its oil-centric foundation. Among the multifaceted initiatives aimed at diversification, nuclear energy emerged as a promising road. It wasn't just about clean energy, it was also an economically viable alternative to fossil fuels. Saudi Arabia's work in nuclear energy also symbolized a shift in its geopolitical posture. It was actively exploring new partnerships, strategically distancing itself from complete dependence on the United States. A key figure in this goal was the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who cultivated closer ties with China. He delved into the complexities of nuclear power plant construction plans provided by the Asian giant. Additionally, France, South Korea, and Russia all expressed keen interest in participating in Saudi Arabia's nuclear energy ambitions as well. Now let's talk about China's role in this plan, a role that isn't allowing the US to stop worrying. China emerged as a frontrunner in Saudi Arabia's nuclear energy aspirations. The collaboration between the two nations exceeded the world of energy. China's involvement extended to significant economic efforts in Saudi Arabia, including projects such as the Red Sea New City and the construction of a massive solar power plant. This deepening alliance allowed Saudi Arabia to diversify its geopolitical partnerships. It moved closer to Eastern nations while retaining its ties with the United States, as one of the partners, not as an exclusive partner. This strategic repositioning left Saudi Arabia with enhanced negotiating power and global influence. Saudi Arabia's position away from the United States and toward Eastern nations, particularly China, raised alarm in Washington. The U.S. was discontented with this shift, primarily because it posed competitive pressures on its nuclear power business. Consequently, U.S. media narratives got onto a campaign to cast the China-Saudi Arabia partnership in a negative light. They sought to elaborate on China as a perceived threat to spoil its image and hinder its development and cooperation in the Middle East. However, the cooperation between China and Saudi Arabia in the domain of civilian nuclear energy sticks to international nuclear non-proliferation obligations. It aligns with energy security and environmental objectives in the Middle East and on a global scale. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia's recent involvement in the BRICS alliance indicated a new phase in its global influence. The BRICS bloc, initially comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, has consistently garnered attention due to its substantial market, robust economic clout, and global impact. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates joining this alliance could potentially reshape the dynamics of global economic and political power. In this transformative journey, Saudi Arabia's nuclear energy story stands as an example of the complex interplay of geopolitics, economics, and energy. It highlights the evolving landscape of international relations, where nations strive to attain a delicate balance between their interests on the global stage. It also highlights the power of energy diversification to spark strategic realignments that could reshape the course of the future. The influence of the United States over nations like Saudi Arabia and the role of China are factors that cannot be overlooked. These developments are important, and their ripple effects resonate not only in the Middle East, but across the international stage. As Saudi Arabia gets more inclined toward China, the world realizes who is more important on the global scale. Now the US can't withstand the position China has. Its influence is slowly fading away. And what can the US do about it? Nothing at all. We would like to take a moment here and appreciate you all for commenting and sharing your opinions. Your insights always impress us. Do you think the US should stop trying its luck in the Middle East? What reasons do you suggest are reasonable for Saudi Arabia to move away from the US? Do you think China is a better partner? Let us know in the comments section. Why is the US losing all its allies? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence over the world. Until the next video, stay tuned.